Hey, this is BP, real estate investor and founder of Unfuck Your Mindset. And if you want to learn how to sharpen your axe and take down your biggest goals, you should listen to Small Axe Community Podcast with my good friend Nico Salgado.
Hi, welcome to the show. I'm Nico Salgado, and I chat with top industry leaders in multifamily and business. I believe that it only takes a small axe to build a lasting empire. And if you want to learn how to use your small axe to accomplish your biggest dreams and goals, then join our Small Axe community and enjoy the show. Hey, Small Axe community investors. What we are doing today is talking to my good friend Brayand, BP, the founder of Unfuck Your Mindset. He's a father, entrepreneur, philanthropist, public speaker, free thinker, adventurer, world traveler. He's got a self-made millionaire going on right now, brand new to the game of the millionaire club, but he's in it and ready to rock and roll. His mindset, his viewpoints, his journey have been instrumental to my success and my visions and my goals, and I would love for him to share some of that with you. So welcome to the show, BP.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you asking me to be here, and I appreciate you having me on today.
Awesome, man. I would love to share a little bit about your story of where you grew, how you grew up, and how you got to where you are now. Because for me, I think it was something that is just very inspirational to show people, look what can be done.
Yeah, the good thing about being in a place growing up where you're from humble beginnings. My parents are immigrants from Guatemala. English was not my first language. I grew up in the ghettos of Los Angeles. I grew up in the hoods where, gangs and violence and everything was pretty prevalent. The great thing about that is that somebody told me a long time ago, your struggle will become your story. And honestly, the worse you have it growing up, the better your story is going to be when you're an adult, if you make it that way. So, like, for example, if I were a trust fund kid and my parents had buku bucks and they left me money out the ass, you wouldn't be impressed by what I did, because you're like, fuck it, that motherfucker had a silver spoon on his mouth the whole time. But when people see, hey man, this guy here, he cusses like a fucking sailor, he's got short hair, brown guy, he fucking loves the Raiders, he's from LA, they start kind of putting together these ideas in their head. And eventually what happens is that they're like, oh my God, dude, if this guy can do it, then I can do it. I mean, I didn't grow up in the ghettos, but I blah, 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 blah. I could do it if he can do it. So that's one of the awesome things about coming from such humble beginnings. As I mentioned, I grew up in the hood of LA. I've been working since I was 11 years old. My first job was passing flyers door to door. I've done everything and anything under the sun that you can for work. And honestly, money, success, real estate, that was never, and not even in the field where I was looking at. There wasn't anything like that. It was, all of our life was work hard, go home, do it again. Work hard, go home, do it again. So when you come from that background, that's all you know. And I really thank my dad for giving me a hard work ethic, but I also know that he didn't really know what he was doing because his information was limited. He only knew work hard. And unfortunately, working hard is good, but working hard has its limitations. You can only take yourself so long, so far by working. And eventually you're going to run out of energy. Eventually you're going to run out of time. We're not getting younger. We're going to continue getting older. Time's going to continue passing. Our body's going to start deteriorating. The amount of energy that you have is going to start deteriorating. So, when you're in your early 20s, yeah, you could probably work your ass off, but eventually you must start to learn how to work smart and not hard. And that was a big shift in mindset for me, from coming from such a poor place where you're praised for working hard. Like Latin women brag about their Latin men based on how hard they work. Hey, look at my husband. He's such a hard worker. Oh my God, my husband's busting his ass out there. Like, that's kind of how they brag to their friends about how they got a good man, based on how much they work. And once again, there's nothing wrong with hard work, but if hard work made you rich, every person in Latin America, every person in a village in Africa would be fucking rich. Unfortunately, that's just not the way that the world works.
Hey man, that's a great point, and I am in the same position where I was busting my ass. That's what I did was, it came to the point where we were going to lose our house, and I was like, all right, let me pick up more jobs, and I just kept picking up jobs and doing more and more, and I found myself working from 5:30 in the morning to 11 at night, and I was like, I'm going to burn out and die. I need to do something different because this is no way to support my family in the long term. I can do it for a few months, but I'm going to burn out and die, you know?
Yes, and that's the one thing. Like, if you were posting, let's say that you were posting about that on Facebook. Hey, man, I woke up at 5:30 and I'm going to sleep at 11:30. I'm busting my ass off for my family. Everybody and their mama would praise you.
Hmm.
Everybody and their mother would be like, "Oh my God, look at this guy! He's so fucking awesome. He's such a hard worker. He's doing all of this. He's doing whatever it takes," which is cool. But as you said, in the long run, that's not sustainable. In
Right.
the long run, it doesn't. You cannot work. You cannot burn the candle on both ends for very long. You can do it for a short amount of time, and there's nothing wrong with, hey, I got myself in a financial situation. That business that I was running didn't work. My bad. I got fucking family. I got kids. Let me bust my ass to make it happen. Like, that's okay temporarily, but a lot of times, and one of the big issues that I have with a lot of gurus and mentors and coaches out there is they only focus on working hard. You want more money? Go do more deals. Go knock on more doors. Go talk to more sellers. Where I'm on the complete opposite side of the spectrum. I don't want to do shit. I don't want to talk to no fucking seller. I can't remember the last time I fucking talked to a seller. I haven't done marketing in like fucking 10 years. I'm not trying to talk to a fucking seller. Get the fuck out of here.
Right, man. Because in reality, you kind of got to work backwards. Say, where do you want to be? And then how are you going to
Yes.
get there? Because I want to do the same thing. I want to be able to chill and relax and enjoy a revenue stream that's coming in passively. So let's talk about that. Why did you decide as real estate as your vehicle to achieve that?
Well, as I mentioned, I grew up poor, and my parents were immigrants from Guatemala. So we grew up in a neighborhood in Los Angeles where there was a handful of people that my parents grew up with in Guatemala that had also moved to LA right around the same time that they did. So their community was there. We saw the people. Every single person that we met was broke. Every single person, with the exception of this guy named Byron. Byron's mother was a realtor, and that was my first. How do I say this? That was my first look at somebody that lived in a nice house, two-story house with a pool in a gated community. And from a very young age, I mean, I must have been like 7, 8 years old, I realized that real estate was something that I was very interested in because it looked like a avenue for me to make money.
Yeah, I
I
get that
didn't
too.
know much about it. Like, I didn't really understand anything about it. I didn't have like a passion for real estate and all those bullshit that people try to say. I really just saw it as, hey man, this is a viable way to make money because I'm looking at everybody else. They're all working their ass off. This lady's literally just driving people around to houses and getting commission checks that are bigger than my parents made in a whole fucking month of working their ass off, both of them combined.
Yep.
So that was my big, like, that was my first aha moment that I said, you know what? This real estate stuff is really something that I want to be looking into. I initially thought I wanted to be a realtor because just like most people, when you don't know shit, and you probably get this all the time. Your friends like, hey man, I want to be a real estate investor. Do I have to go get my license?
Yep.
Like,
All the time.
everybody believes that they have to go get their fucking license. Everybody believes that that's their only way of doing real estate. And honestly, I fell in the same trap. But as I started going to the meetings, as I started meeting people, as I started going to the networking events, I came across wholesaling, and I said, hey, this actually fits better. I don't particularly want to be driving around. And here's the thing. Most people only do whatever they think is going to get them to wherever they think they want to go. And the magic word there is think. They don't really know what the fuck they want. Most people think they want a lot of money. And they believe that the only way to make a lot of money is to bust your ass off because that's what people have been telling you.
Right.
It's not until you learn, hey, you know what? Money is cool. Money is a tool, but it's not worth me losing my kids. It's not me worth losing my marriage. It's not worth me doing this and that. Like I tell people all the time, there's a lot of shit that I won't do for money. I'm not going to do anything illegal. I'm not going to do anything unethical. I'm not going to do anything that's going to jeopardize the relationship that I have with my kids. I'm not going to do anything that fucks up my life and my happiness just to make money. So I started looking into different alternatives, and real estate investing started making a whole lot of sense. And honestly, from there, I noticed one thing when I was an early adult. Every rich person, regardless of what they do, regardless of how they made their money, every single one of these people invested in real estate.
And so what you're doing is you're really building a lifestyle for yourself that's going to fit and cater to your needs and your family's needs, which I like as well. So, and you're doing what you got to do. And a lot of people have a similar vision or goal, but can't seem to get there. And they're stuck. And they feel like there's no solution for them. They come from a limited mindset where they're like, I can't make this happen for myself because I don't have any money. I can't make this happen for myself because I don't have the time. How can we crush some of those limiting beliefs?
Well, it all starts with the mindset. And this is why I started Unfuck Your Mindset. Because the problem with our mind is that those limiting beliefs that you just mentioned, that shit was installed in you from a very young age. That was installed in you by people that love you, that wanted what's best for you, which is your parents. Unfortunately, as human beings, we do everything we can to prove ourselves right in the head. So, for example, you have a best friend, and let's call your best friend Joe. And best friend Joe thinks that he's a piece of shit. Like, nobody tells him that, but that's what he believes. Maybe his dad told him that growing up or whatever. Joe then meets a beautiful lady who loves him and wants to take care of him. If Joe truly deep down inside believes that he's a piece of shit, he will find a way to fuck up that relationship.
Mm-hmm.
There's absolutely no other way around it. Now, that had nothing to do with the woman. That had nothing to do with the situation. That had nothing to do with anything other than the beliefs that he had in his head. The same way that that happens is the same way that most of us are with these limited beliefs. Most of us are so hell-bent on proving ourselves right. Hey, it takes money to make money. I don't come from connections. Like a lot of people use that as but really all it is limiting beliefs. So what I started to do was I started focusing on helping people unfuck their mindset. Because I realized this was like 3 or so years ago. I was coaching people in real estate, and I realized that I could give you the fucking playbook. I mean, I could give you the gold. I could hold your fucking hand and I can walk you through it, and you're still gonna fuck it up because
Uh-huh.
your limiting beliefs are telling you, no, 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 this ain't gonna happen. That's not the way it works. So one of the biggest things that you need to do is you need to first realize that you have a fucked up mindset. And that's really hard for people to accept. That's really hard for people to admit, mainly because their mind was created by people that love them, their parents, grandma, my uncle, pastor so-and-so, teacher, Mrs., Mr. so-and-so. Those are all people that cared for you, and they told you, hey, this is how it goes. And maybe your mom told you, hey, it takes money to make money, and we just don't have any money, so don't worry about it. Don't stop looking at that car. Stop thinking about that trip to Europe. Like that stuff's not made for us. That's for those yuppies over there. Those things become ingrained, and what happens is that those thoughts get wrapped up in emotion because they're coming from people that love you. When
Yeah.
you are fighting between logic and emotion, emotion always wins. If there's an internal battle inside between logic and deep rooted emotion, emotion will always win. So understanding that those things are just there, understanding that you are not your thoughts, because your thoughts are not even yours. Your thoughts were implemented by other people who had their own shit. And you got to remember that when your parents taught you what they taught you, they didn't know any better. They were just doing the best that they could. They didn't really understand what they were telling you when they were like, hey, work hard, go to college, get a degree, blah, 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 blah. Like they didn't really completely understand
Mm-hmm.
what they were telling you to do. So you take this and you're like, okay, well, I need to make this. You hold such a deep emotion with it, then all of a sudden it becomes really, really hard for you to detach. So step number one is to be aware that you have a problem. Step number two is to understand what that problem is, how that mindset is limiting. Okay, so I understand my parents taught me it takes money to make money. I understand that that's kind of holding me back or whatever. So you have to understand how that's working. Number three is disassociation, which is super, super, super hard for people. That's really where people get stuck. Because now you have to say, okay, well, these things are no longer serving me. I have to stop believing them. I have to stop doing it. And that's where people fuck up. I have to stop talking to my old friends. I have to stop thinking this. I have to stop saying the same shit. I have to stop watching the news. I have to stop listening to my dumbass friends, my dumbass, parents who don't know what the hell they're talking about. And then the last one is reprogramming. So once you're aware, once you understand the problem, once you learn to disassociate with that problem, now you have to reprogram your mind, because the universe abhors a vacuum. So you can't just take something away and not replace it. This is why you see people that go to like AA meetings and other type of meetings, they drop the drinking habit, but they pick up another habit. All of a sudden they're eating chips all the time, or they're chewing on gum, or they become a heavy coffee drinkers or whatever. They have to switch one habit for the other. So you must be able to reprogram yourself by saying, okay, these old beliefs. So for example, let's take this belief. It takes money to make money. We've all heard it. Every single one of us has heard it takes money to make money. Now, if you believe that, you are going to, and then you don't have any money, you're going to be like, well, fuck, I guess I can't make any money. That is just an old belief. Now you got to be aware, hey, that's bullshit. My parents taught me that. I understand how it's limiting me. Let's time to disassociate. Now let's put another programming in place. And what I did is I replaced it takes money to make money with it takes creativity to make money.
I love that.
It takes creativity to make money. You don't have to use money. And the good thing about it is if it does take money to make money, it doesn't have to be your money. You can use investors' money. You can use the bank's money. You can use a fucking credit card.
That's right.
It doesn't take money to make money. It just takes creativity.
That's right, man. And your story, I know that you got into either all of the majority of your deals creatively.
I own over 120 doors as rentals, and I have never ever put a dollar, a dime, a nickel, a penny of my own money into any of these deals.
That's amazing. I mean, and people are going to take that and say, well, he did it, but I can't do that. But the reality is you are somebody that has done it before. You set the standard, showing everybody here that here's proof of concept. It can be done. Now do it. But the problem is people are getting stuck at the mindset stage where they can't shift gears because they're still connected to the past of their parents, what their parents tell them. And it all comes from love. The parents are just trying to do what they think is best for them, but it's really holding them back. And when you said, it's time to just kind of dismiss some of these old friends and family, and it's true, you have to. It doesn't mean you don't love them, but if they're gonna hold you back, then you need to start connecting yourself with the right people. Is that right?
That is correct. And one of the things that I teach my students at the Unfuck Your Mindset program is that you must be selfish in order to be selfless. You must take the time to yourself first. So, for example, you got kids, I got kids. If I want to be the best dad that I can be to my kids, guess what? I have to be selfish. I have to focus on myself. I have to make sure that I'm doing the shit that I want them to do. Because most of our parents, they fell into the same philosophy. Do as I say, not as I do. My parents were horrible with money, yet they always gave me money advice. I remember my dad when I was like 16 or something, I was just working, and he was like, son, here's what you need to do. You need to take your money, you need to put aside the money for the bills. Whatever you have left, half of it you can spend, half of it goes into the savings account. Now, I know for a fact that he never fucking did that. I know for a fucking fact that he never did, but he told me to do it. So what do we do as humans? We automatically say, oh, that's bullshit. He's just talking out of his ass. Now, I know he said it from a place of love, but I also understand monkey see, monkey do. And as I saw him spend all his money that he made every check, well, guess what I started doing when I was working? I mean, I remember my first real job that I got a paycheck. I had the money spent before I got paid. I had already looked at something and was already like calculating how much money I was going to be fucking making. And that was one of the things that I realized back then. So when you are looking to create a better life for your kids, you have to understand that you have to take care of yourself first. You can't take care of your wife if you're fucking struggling and dying. You can't take care of your kids if you're fucking depressed and you're suicidal. You can't teach them to be good. You can't teach them to be happy if yourself is not happy. And that's where a lot of people fuck up, is that they tend to focus on their family and friends. Well, that's my mom. I can't tell my mom to fuck off. Like, you know, that's my mama. She did everything for me. I guess, but if you keep on hanging around with her, you're going to end up being like her. And as much as I love my mother, I'm not trying to be like her.
Right.
As much as I love my mother, I'm not trying to continue the same fucking the same mistakes as she did. I'm not trying to work till I'm 60. I have no fucking interest in doing that, as much as I love my mother. So what I've had to learn to do is to distance myself from my mother. I still talk to her, but very limited conversations. I don't talk to her about certain things. And I remember this was like 2 years ago or so. I had some crazy financial situation where a shit ton of people owed me a shit ton of money. And there's always somebody that owes me money at any given point. Like, that's part of being a business owner. It just so happened that pretty much everybody that owed me money didn't pay me. So my bank account completely dried up to less than $1,000. And I haven't had a bank account with less than $1,000 in God knows how many fucking years. I don't know why I spoke to my mother about that. And my mother said something along the lines of, well, you see, that's what happens when you become a rich, greedy bastard, or something like that. And I was like, whoa, fucking hey, this is how you feel about me, Mom? Like, this is how you think I am? That's fucked up. But the reality is that that's just the way she was programmed. And because I understand the mindset and I understand how the mind works, I understand that she doesn't really mean anything by that. She was just talking based on her experience. However, because I don't want to be like her and I don't want to follow her shit, anytime she gives me financial advice, it goes in one ear, out the other. Anytime she tells me business advice, it goes one ear, out the other. Anytime she gives her opinion about what I should be doing, how I should be living, how she doesn't like the fact that I smoke weed or cuss or whatever, goes in one ear and out the other, because I know deep down inside, I don't want to end up like that. And if you want to be a good example for your kids, if you want to be a good example for your family, you must focus on yourself first. That's first and foremost before anything. And part of you focusing on yourself and being selfish is being extremely picky with who you let into your life, who you listen to, who you allow. And I tell people all the time, your life is a movie. And in this movie, you are the main character. You are also the director, the producer, the editor, the casting director. You're every part of your own fucking movie, which means that you get to decide who is your supporting cast. You get to decide who's got a speaking role and who doesn't. Who's just an extra? Who's just a guy that pops in and says a funny line and then just goes away? Like, you have the option in real life, and that's what I chose to do. Sometimes people got a little bit offended, and that's okay, because I'm not here to worry about their feelings. I'm here to worry about my life. There's people that I love, that I grew up with, that I still talk to, but hi and bye, how's it going? How's the kids? And that's about the end of our conversation, because we have nothing to talk about. And it's not because I think I'm better than them. It's because I understand that if I keep on hanging around with subpar people, I'm going to have subpar results. And that's as fucked up as that sounds. I don't give a shit, but that's the fucking truth.
No, it is the truth. And in reality, I mean, you're heading towards the sun. You're like a tree growing, and the other people just stop growing, and they're down there, and you can't stop reaching for the sun just because they refuse to grow themselves, I mean, you got to keep growing. It's not just for you, it's for everybody around you. You're creating a better community around you and a better vibe of people around you by reaching yourself to higher heights. BP, can we talk a little bit about how at the end of the day, you know, you said that you kind of let, like some people, when they talk to you, it'll go in one ear out the other. Are there some people that you chose to keep around or chose to really stick to get like advice from?
Fuck yeah.
Hmm.
The same thing, the same principle applies with what I just said. Birds of a feather flock together, right? If you're hanging around a bunch of knuckleheads, you're going to be a fucking knucklehead. However, if you hang around really successful people, you're going to be a really successful person. So I've been in the real estate game for now 15 years. I started off as a hustler. I started off as a door knocker. I was literally door knocking back in '06 for real estate investor and just trying to find deals, trying to hustle up deals. Eventually I came to a point where I said, you know what? I'm a really good worker, but I don't like to fucking work. I don't like to work hard. And I started seeing that other people around me, other wholesalers, were really braggadocious about how hard they work. And to me, that sounded really stupid. And I guarantee you, we're a few days away from fucking 4th of July. I guarantee you that somebody in your timeline is going to be like, well, you guys are relaxing. I'm over here making deals happen. Ha ha ha. Look at me. I'm better than you because I'm working. Fuck you. So here's my point with that. I didn't want to be that. I didn't think that working on a holiday was cool. So I started finding people that were successful but didn't work a lot because that's what I wanted. My goal, and I'm super, super close to hitting my goal, is to make a shit ton of fucking money without doing a goddamn thing. And to have that money come in every single month without me doing a goddamn thing. So guess what? I sought out people that were making a shit ton of money without doing a goddamn thing. And I made sure that they were ethical because I don't want to hang around assholes. I don't want to hang around people going to prison because guess what? Then I'm fucking next in line.
Hmm.
So I only sought out people that were amazing individuals. And you know, this was like 3 years ago or so, when I decided to stop doing flips. I had a ridiculously massive, successful flipping company, and I was like, I'm done with this shit. I'm absolutely done. And people were always telling me, my friends in the business, well, what are you gonna do, man? And I'm like, I don't know, but I want to make a lot of money without fucking working. And they would laugh at me. Ha ha ha, that sounds cool. Ha ha, good luck with that. Ha ha. But the more that I put it out there, the more that the universe kept on bringing me around people that were doing it.
Hmm.
When I met people that were actively creating passive income, that were doing it right, that were not tired landlords, that did not have all the fucking horror stories, I said, man, I'm going to hang out with you because guess what? I want to be just like you. One of my friends and mentors used to work in Wall Street. He's a notes guy, and he used to work in Wall Street. I have had multiple meetings with him where he has broken down how to eventually move my portfolio and start trading it on Wall Street. Guess what? I'm going to hang out with that guy. And
Hmm.
by the way, he's a family man who who spends way, 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 way more time with his kids and his wife than he ever does fucking working. Never once do you see him flashing any money. He doesn't have to go buy a fucking Lamborghini to show you that he's better than you. He doesn't have to fucking live in a big old fucking house. He doesn't have to rub anything in. I said, hey, that's the type of guy that I want to be like.
Hmm.
And really, look, guys, if you want to make this shit stupid simple, if you want to make this shit stupid simple, find somebody that you want to be like, fucking stick onto their fucking hip, find a way to add value, as much value as you can, and then go out there and try to be like them. But first you find them, then you add value. And that's where people fuck up. Most people will come up to you and be like, hey, 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 show me how to flip. And you're like, motherfucker, can I get a hello first? I don't even fucking know you. The amount of people that fucking message me on social media, hey man, dude, I've had people literally say, hey man, I need your help. Or what do you need help? I need you to make money for me. Who the fuck
Hmm.
are you? And what the fuck made you think that I was gonna do that shit? Get the fuck out of here. So I choose to not do that. When I meet people, I said, I don't ask them, what can they do for me? I turn around and I said, what can I do for you?
Mm-hmm.
How can I be of value to you? How can I help you out? How can I create a scenario where I can bring value to you? And this is where a lot of people just miss a great opportunity. Because really, guys, it's not that hard. You just find somebody who's doing what you want to do. And one of two things is going to happen. You're either going to realize, hey, I didn't want to do this. I thought I wanted to be a doctor until I hung out with, Dr. So-and-so, and I found out XYZ. That doesn't sound like fun. So guess what? I really don't want to be a doctor. Or, hey, I really do want to be a doctor, and I'm hanging out with this podiatrist, and he's telling me how this form of doctor, he makes more money than your regular MD without putting up as much bullshit. So guess what? I'm going to stick with this guy. I'm going to see how I can add value to him. And then I'm just going to copy my way to success. So just like I have been very picky as to about who I hang out with, like who I don't hang out with, I've been even more picky as to who I do hang out with, because I truly believe that birds of a feather flock together. And here's the most amazing part of the last thing that I just said. All you need to do is find one really good person, because chances are that really good person hangs out with other really good people.
Yep.
Because birds of a feather flock together. If you're a fucking piece of shit lying asshole, guess what? You're going to hang out with other pieces of shit lying assholes. If you are an ethical business person who really is about value, I belong to this real estate community called the Kingdom, where I'm one of the mentors. And the reason why I even joined them, they don't pay me. I do this strictly out of my fucking heart. It's because I love their message. Their fucking message is people first, not profits first, people first. Yep. How can we help the sellers? How can I help my buyers? How can I be of value to them? So when you find good people, all of a sudden you're going to get connected to other good people. Mm-hmm. When I started doing my first flip, and you hear about this all the time, people have way horror stories. I went to a fucking goddamn Fan Marrow fucking thing. I spent $50,000 on a fucking program, and I followed his shit. I went to go buy a deal from the MLS, and then I got a contractor, and it was a contractor from hell. Mm-hmm. Well, that should never happen to me. You know why? Because I only dealt with good people. So when I went from wholesaling to fixing and flipping, I reached out to my buyers, people that were actively fixing and flipping, and I said, hey guys, I'm doing my first flip. Who can you recommend for me? Mm-hmm. And they connected me with their contractor. Now their contractor came from them, which means that their contractor was also a stand-up ethical guy, because these people wouldn't be fucking with them if he wasn't. That's right. I didn't have to worry about this guy stealing from me. I didn't have to worry about this guy lying from me. And the good thing about it is that I use them as a shield for me, meaning I would tell the contractor, hey man, make sure you take care of me, because Alex gives you a bunch of jobs. Mm-hmm. Alex feeds your fucking family. So you don't want to fuck with me, because now you're going to fuck with Alex, and you don't want to do that. So that's what happens when you start finding good people and you start hanging around them. And eventually you can start building your web, your network full of other good people that are also going down the road. Now, if you want to hustle your ass off and you want to build a crazy wholesaling business where you're marketing in 20 markets, go hang out with the person that does that. I don't fucking want to do that shit. But if that's your cup of tea, then by all means, go hang out with those type of people. You're going to meet their lenders. You're going to meet their title people. You're going to meet their team and their dialers and their whatever else. So it's really not that hard. A good friend of mine wrote a book called Copy Your Way to Success. And honestly, that's been my philosophy since day one.
That's awesome, man. But I think that the value that you just added for people right there is just, incredible. And people who are listening are going to really, besides be inspired, I think that's actionable advice. They can really take that one beautiful, easy piece of advice and move forward with it. And I would love to.
Yeah, if I could go back to the beginning of my real estate career, and I could focus on one or two things. I would focus on networking intentionally, not just going to a networking event and shooting the shit and talking to your friends, but networking intentionally, going out there to meet people. And second of all, is just focus on adding value.
Mm-hmm.
If I understood that from a younger age, I would have been much further out than I was. Now, luckily for me, I eventually understood that. But for all you guys that are guys and girls that are listening, especially you guys and girls that are just getting started in the industry or thinking about getting started in the industry, really, really build up that networking muscle. And I'm gonna say something that we've all known before. It's not what you know, it's who you know.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm gonna add something to it. It's not who you know, but how you know them. And this is
Right.
where I always say, like every time I speak on stage, I always say the exact same thing. I make the majority of my money smoking weed, drinking alcohol, and eating food with people
Mm-hmm.
because it's just networking. It's just getting to know this. So let's call this guy Joe, and Joe is a local buyer in your market. You're a wholesaler. I'm a wholesaler. Joe just sold one of his deals, so he's got money available to buy another deal. Now, you've met Joe at a networking event. I've met Joe at a networking event. However, I've been out to eat with Joe. I
Mm-hmm.
smoked a joint with Joe. I went to go have a few drinks with Joe. When both of us bring him a deal and it's both the same deal in a similar neighborhood for a similar ARV, for a similar profit margin, he's going to choose me over you
Mm-hmm.
every single fucking time. Hell, your deal could be better than mine and he would still choose me over you
Right. That's a
because it's not who you know, it's how you know them.
mm-hmm. That's a great point. You know, building those lasting relationships is probably more. It is. It's more valuable, you know, than anything else because in reality, it comes down to know, like, and trust. And if they don't know, like, and trust you, they'd rather, you know, take a pay cut to work with you than work with somebody else that they don't know, like, and trust.
Yep. And that's the one thing here is that if all you newbies spend as much time focused on networking, focused on getting to know people as much as you do trying to learn the new technique, the guaranteed solid script to close the deal or whatever the fuck you think is gonna be fucking good. If you would just focus that time instead of wasting your time on that horse shit, really just focus on relationships. That will take you so much more further. And here's the thing: is like you could be selling the cold calling script of the century that's gonna up your sales by 25% or some stupid shit like that, right? You could be, and maybe that's gonna up my sales, and that's going to be a good return on my investment. But you know what the best return on your investment is in the long run, especially in this business of real estate, is building human equity. Because yeah, I could probably take that cold calling script and get a few more deals this month or this year, but if I make the right relationship, I just fed my fucking grandkids. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'd be based on the right relationship. I just fed my fucking grandchildren when I'm done, when I die. I
Right.
don't be based on relationships. And this is why I mentioned I haven't done any marketing in well over 10 years. All of my deals come from networking. All
Mm-hmm.
of my money comes from networking. All of everything comes from networking. It's just connecting with people and just being genuine. Hey, man, many, many times. So the Wall Street guy that I told you about, I met him speaking at an event, and I said, "Man, you're real cool." I found out he lived in my town. I said, "Hey, bro, can I take you out to eat? Like, you seem like an awesome guy. Let's go out to eat. Let's go have a beer or whatever." So he turns out he doesn't smoke, he doesn't drink. So fuck it, we went to go eat, and we're just sitting there. We chatted for 2 hours. Probably out of the 2 hours, I would say 10 minutes was about business.
Mm-hmm.
Everything else was about family, traveling. He belongs to a church that has an orphanage in Haiti. He happened to be following me on social media before I ever met him in real life. So he knew that I've been to Haiti a few times. He known that I work with an orphanage out there. We talked a lot about that. We talked a lot about giving back. We talked a lot about, the perception and how people act in this business versus how it really is. And we had a lot of different conversations that had really nothing to do with business itself. But because I got to know him on a personal level, because I've met his wife, because I've been to his house multiple times, because I've hung out with his fucking kids, because I've petted his fucking dogs, when I called him and I said, "Hey, man, I'm ready to move into the note space, and I'm ready to move into that shit that you told me about Wall Street," he gladly took his fucking time and said, "Yeah, come over the house. I'll break it down for you." And me
Right.
and my business partner sat there with the notepad for 2 hours while he literally broke down the game. No upsell, no charge, no, hey, you do this for me, I do this for you. Just straight up basic human communication.
That's awesome, man. I really, really love that. I think that these takeaways that people are getting from listening to this is just phenomenal. I also would like to circle back because before all this really happens, I think that you have one of the most valuable tools right now out there for people, which is the Unfuck Your Mindset program that you're offering. Because if you get blocked in the beginning, it's probably because of your mindset. So let's talk briefly about the Unfuck Your Mindset program that you offer, and if you would like to give maybe one of the tips, because I have a lot of takeaways from it. But if you would like to share one with the listeners, a quick tip that they can, take on for themselves as well, I think that would be great and valuable.
So yeah, you joined the webinar that I did yesterday, where I did my top 10 secrets to unfuck your mindset. And one of the things that I truly believe it all the time is under promise and over deliver. So what I ended up doing was I ended up throwing a bonus secret at the end, and that's the secret that I'm going to tell you guys right now. Learn to unlearn. Learn to unlearn the bullshit that was brought to you in your head from a young age. Look, here's the reason why people love going on YouTube and checking out the new techniques. And there was some stupid shit on the internet like a month ago where people were doing closing Olympics. And literally people they paid money to watch other people close deals because for whatever reason they thought that somehow they're going to get a new skill or technique by doing that. The problem is that makes you feel like you're doing something. But at the end of the day, you're not really doing anything. It's kind of like doing busy work. So I'm teaching people to learn to unlearn, which is way harder. It's a lot easier to watch a YouTube video and say, "Oh yeah, that was cool. I'm going to implement that." And you never really fucking do, than it is to look inside of yourself, say, why do I keep on getting in my own way? Why do I keep on stopping? Why is it that every time I get momentum, it's nobody's fault but me, I fuck it up? Why is it that I spent all this money on fucking leads? I got a bunch of leads and now I'm not calling them back. I'm not texting them back. I'm not doing this. Well, guess what? It all comes back to your mindset. And it's known as programming. I teach all my students that what you think, how you feel, how you act, and what your results are all part of your programming. So you need to unlearn the bullshit introduced to you. And honestly, that all stems from your mind. Now, in the webinar yesterday, I brought up something called the process of manifestation. And the process of manifestation teaches you that the thoughts create the feelings create the actions, and the actions create the results. So if you take yourself back, at some point in your past, there was a thought that popped up into your head. Oh, maybe this real estate stuff, like that sounds pretty interesting. Whether that was because you saw a post on Facebook, or you saw a late night infomercial, or you heard a radio, whatever. Something stirred that thought in your mind. After you started thinking over and over and over, like, man, this real estate stuff is generated some type of emotion in you. I need to do this. I got a family. I'm trying to leave a legacy. Like, it starts fucking with you. It starts like really fucking with you. Well, that emotion then translates into an action. I got to do something about it. I need to take this action. And then because you take the action, you get a certain type of result. But most people only focus on the action. Well, I bought the course, so now I'm going to take the result. The problem is they don't focus on the thoughts. And the thoughts are the root of your tree of life. Your thoughts and your emotions are the roots. And in nature, it's the roots that create the fruits. It's what's underground that creates what's above the ground. It's what's invisible that creates what's visible. Most people only want to focus on the visible. How much action are you taking? And you hear this shit all the time. You got to take massive action. Massive action. Fuck, man. The problem with that is that you're completely avoiding the root of the problem, which is your mind. And if your financial thermostat is set for $50,000 a year, it doesn't matter how much you fucking work, all you're going to make is $50,000 a year. If you believe that, hey, man, if I could just make enough money to pay the bills and be comfortable, then, I'd be good. Well, guess what, motherfucker? That's exactly what you're going to get. You're never going to be rich. You're never going to be a millionaire because your mind is programmed to make just enough to pay the bills. Right. So once again, my secret to you is to learn to unlearn. And when I tell people about my program and the reason why I called it Unfuck Your Mindset, I'm not here to teach you something. I'm here to help you unlearn all the bullshit. And just like in the example that I gave you with the 4 steps to reprogramming, step number 3 is disassociation, meaning separating yourself. And disassociation is not just from people, but it also, you need to disassociate yourself from beliefs. You need to disassociate from feelings. You need to disassociate from things that were put into you by people that cared for you, but just didn't know what the fuck they were fucking talking about. Mm-hmm. So when you start learning to unfuck your mindset, you're basically learning to unlearn all the bullshit, to unwind all the bullshit that has been steadily given into your life for many years. And that right there, look, the day that I went from not being in real estate to actually jumping into real estate, it was a mindset shift. The day that I went from knocking on doors for somebody else to starting my own wholesale company, it was just in my mind. The day that I went from I'm tired of wholesaling houses, let me move into the fix and flip game, it was just a switch in my mind. I remember that I bought my very first flip and I took out my very first hard money loan at 18% interest only. I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. I said, I need a hard money loan. The numbers make sense, whatever. I called a bunch of my buyers and I said, hey, man, you guys flip houses. Is there a hard money lender that you would recommend? Some guy sent me a hard money lender and a few other people sent me some. One of my buyers, his name was Sean, he called me out of the blue. And he was like, dude, I just want to tell you that I'm fucking proud of you. And I'm like, what are you talking about, Sean? He's like, I'm fucking proud of you for taking that step and actually getting your first hard money loan. Because I know a lot of wholesalers just like you that are never going to take that step. And guess what? It was all in my mind. When I went from flipping one house to flipping 5 houses at a time, it was all in my mind. When I went from flipping 5 houses to fucking 15 houses at a time, it was all in my fucking mind. When I went from from flipping houses to buying rentals, it was all in my mind. When I went from buying single families to fucking buying multifamilies and buying apartment complexes, it was all in my fucking mind. It's all mental. It's all mental. It's all mental. Everything starts with your fucking mind. And it just baffles me how that's where everything starts, but nobody ever pays attention to it. People are just, take the action. Don't worry about it. Don't worry about how you feel. Even if you don't feel like it, take the action. Well, no, don't do that, please. In my experience, I've learned that if I don't feel like doing something and I do it anyway, I'm going to get shitty results. Mm-hmm. Let's say that your wife invites you to some stupid chick flick, right? And you're like, fuck, fine. I'll do it to make you happy. Dude, you just fucked up your whole fucking night. Yep. Because you're going to be miserable sitting there. She's going to be pissed off and because you have a fucking pissed off look on your face or you're bored out of your ass or you're checking your phone while the fucking movie is like getting the most emotional cry moment and shit. And you're like, oh, fuck, what the hell's going on in the game? Mm-hmm. That's going to cause an issue. That's going to cause a fight. We're better off like, hey, baby, I love you, but I don't want to go watch that shit. Like, I'm not going to be happy. I would rather you go watch that with your sister or your friend or somebody that I know you're going to enjoy that with. And then you come back home and we can talk about it. That's cool. Right. You're better off doing that than just forcing it anyway. But in the business, in our industry, people are taught to just do it. Just whatever it is, just do it. Don't worry about it. Just fucking take the action. And I will once again remind you guys that it all starts with the mind. The process of manifestation teaches us that your thoughts lead to your feelings lead to your actions, and your actions lead to your results. So I would encourage all of you to focus on your thoughts. If you can just control your thoughts, you can change your fucking life. And this is where I truly believe that the Unfuck Your Mindset program is going to change people's lives. And it's already doing it. I mean, I've been coaching people for the last few years on the personal side. I eventually decided to create the program because I wanted to make it more accessible. I was only doing private coaching and most people couldn't afford my private coaching prices. So I said, I'm not doing this for the money. I'm already a fucking millionaire. My real estate makes me fucking money. I don't need the fucking money, but I do believe that this is going to help out a lot of fucking people. Mm-hmm. So when I start looking at this, I'm like, okay, if I can help you change your mindset, guess what? There's a possibility that now you're going to infect your wife with that. Guess what? If you and your wife are both positive mindset and you and your wife both understand that it's not about how hard I work, it's about how much I control my mind and my thoughts and my emotions, guess what? There's a high probability that your children are going to pick up on it. If your children then have children, now their children are going to pick up on it. I have just influenced 3 generations by helping you understand that it all starts in your fucking mind.
Oh, man.
And I want you guys to understand this. I am a lazy ass motherfucker. I fucking hate to work. There's nothing more than I love than to have sex on a Wednesday at noon. Because I know that everybody and their fucking mama is stuck at some fucking job that they hate. And I'm over here, having sex with my lady because I fucking can. While I'm still making more money than most people out there. And I would much, much, much rather make $1 million a year passively without lifting a finger than to make $100 million a year by busting my ass off.
Mm-hmm. I think that's huge, Mr. BP. You are crushing it right now. And for everybody listening out there, I think that honestly, if you are ready to take that step and take that leap, we're going to have to jump on this Unfuck Your Mindset program. I want to get the listeners that information, but I think that I would like to wrap it up because you'd mentioned something awesome, and I'd like to expand on that a little bit. So you're
sure.
By infecting, as you call it, people with the correct mindset, it's going to be like an expansion of everybody's mindset within a community, within the nationwide, and then eventually worldwide. And that's the ultimate goal. And I think that's such a quality and noble goal to have. And for somebody like you, I think that what you're doing is just absolutely beneficial for society as a whole. So, and I think that you're right. Within 100 years from now, which is leading me to my last question, there's going to be some changes. And if you have grandkids 100 years from now, let's imagine that they were going to write a book about you, Grandpa BP, the man, the myth, the legend. So what would you like that title of the book to be and say about you?
The title of the book would be called Spearhead. Because I have taken the forefront and I'm taking the blunt of everything. My kids are going to have an amazing opportunity based on what I'm doing. Whether they take it or not, that's going to be on them. My kids are going to have rental properties because that's just what the fuck I'm setting up for them. My grandchildren will have rental properties because of what I'm setting up for them. But the one thing that I do believe that they're going to recognize and remember me by is being the guy that took the first step. Because nobody in my family is doing what I'm doing. And when I mean my family, I'm not just talking about my brother and sister and mother. I mean, I'm talking about all my fucking family, all my cousins, my uncles, everybody, close second, third cousins. Nobody's doing what the fuck I'm doing. Nobody had the balls to take this leap and say, hey, we are going to build generational wealth. So when my kids and my grandkids are talking about me in the future, or they're going to be like, man, Grandpa BP, he laid the foundation for us to build what we're at.
And that's really where I truly see myself as a spearhead. You know, I'm taking the blunt force. I'm taking the fucking shit show. I'm taking the risk. I'm going into what the unknown. So you, my children and grandchildren, don't have to.
That's
And you
right.
know, when I travel to different countries, because you know that I travel a lot, one of the things that I notice is that most other countries, especially poor countries, don't have the luxury to think about mindset. You're so busy trying to survive and to have food on your fucking table that it's hard for you to even think in the future. You're only thinking about surviving today. As Americans, and I thank my parents for bringing me to this country or for coming to this country and having me born here. I thank them so much because as Americans, we have the ability to not have to worry about. I mean, even with a pandemic or whatever the fuck is going on, we still have food. There's still stuff out there. We still have a roof over our head. There's still Wi-Fi. There's still running water. There's still electricity. All these things that we take for granted.
Mm-hmm.
But if I would have grown up in Guatemala like my cousins did, I don't think that I would have been in a position to have my mind free to be able to explore different alternatives. So if I can remove the burden of having to make money, which is pretty much what permeates 99% of most people's mind 99% of the fucking time, what are the possibilities? What could they do? What type of art? What type of philanthropy? What type of inspirational shit could they come up with if they don't have to worry about making fucking money?
Mm-hmm.
And that's where I believe, as I said, if they were to write a book about me, it'd probably be called Spearhead. And it'd just be
Man, I
like,
love
this
that.
is the guy that took the shit. He fucking took the blunt. He was the one that was cussed at. He was the one that was yelled at. He was the one that everybody thought he was a fucking idiot. And he did it without anybody fucking doing it. And because he took that risk, we now have the ability to not have to focus on making money. We now have the ability. We were born into financial literacy as opposed to having to do what me and you had to do, which is learn it in our fucking 30s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly, man. You break the cycle, and that's I think that's huge, huge. And I know for a fact that people are going to look back and say, "Thank you, Grandpa BP, man, the spearhead who spearheaded everything and made it happen for his friends, his family, his community, and everybody involved." I love it, man. Hey, BP, how can I would like to ask you how can people either reach out to you or find out a little bit more about the Unfuck Your Mindset program? Because honestly, I recommend it for everybody. I think that no matter what stage of life you're at, I think it is 100% beneficial, but even especially beneficial for those just getting started and with all these questions. And I think if you can start with unfucking your mindset, then you're going to be off and running quickly. And if you're at the top and you're struggling with getting, a 1%, 2%, 3% higher than where you are, begin unfucking your mindset. So, Brian, how can
Yes,
people
sir.
reach out to you?
So first and foremost, if you want to connect with me personally, you can reach out to me on Instagram. My handle is at Cashflow Creator. And one of the main reasons why I suggest people to do that is so you could, I share everything. I share everything in my stories. So you could see that I'm just a regular dude. And I say it in my podcast all the time. I'm just an ordinary guy doing extraordinary things. But I'm still just an ordinary guy. I smoke weed. I drink. I fucking cuss. I got fucking kids. I like to travel. I like to eat. I like to do all the shit that we do, and I like to post about it. So you can A, follow me on Cashflow Creator. B, you can actually check out the podcast. So I have a podcast called Unfuck Your Mindset. If you are searching, you can find it anywhere that you find podcasts. If you're searching on iTunes, the U in fuck is a little star because they wouldn't let me spell it out in iTunes. Anywhere else, you can just spell it out. But you can check that out. I'm going now on episode number 26. I do something called Mindset Mondays, where every single Monday I break down a topic as to how to help you unfuck your mindset. That's 100% free. You can actually you can join my Facebook community. If you're not part of the Facebook community, you can go to Unfuck Your Mindset Community on Facebook. So just go to Facebook, hit the search bar, Unfuck Your Mindset Community. That's a free group that I made. It's a free private group. We have about 1,500 members right now. And all it is people in the group that are looking to unfuck their mindset, that are currently working. And you have people that are brand new, still working a 9-to-5 job, to multi millionaires there in the group, and anywhere in between. So it's just a great place for us to congregate and stuff. And then finally, if you want to actually get access to the program, you can go to unfuckyourmindset.com. So here's what we're going to do is we just launched. So I haven't officially launched the program. Yesterday on the webinar, we rolled out a special pre-launch for the people that were on the webinar. We've decided that the first 100 people are going to get a super smoking deal. So what we decided to do was, when I roll out the program, it's going to be $100 a month. That's just basic, simple $100 a month. So what we decided to do was actually offer lifetime membership. Now, when we offer lifetime membership, we came up with the price of $997, $1,000. That gets you lifetime membership. I mean, that you would pay that would pay for itself within the first year. However, because we really care for, and as I said, I don't give a fuck about your money. I care about your attention. And this is why I'm charging. Because if I give the information for free, nobody's going to pay attention to it. Mm-hmm. But if you buy it and you invest in yourself, you're going to have to pay attention. So what I did is I decided that for the first 100 people, I'm going to cut the fucking lifetime membership in half. And for $497, you get lifetime membership. So we're going to run that here until we hit 100 people. Yesterday in the webinar, we had like 30 or something people sign up, or somewhere around that line. So we have a few more places. I think that's probably going to last for about another week or so before we do that. Then after that runs out, then we are going to have some type of special. So I'm going to be offering you a special pricing for your folks. So if you guys chime in right now and you buy the program within the next 2 weeks, you can take advantage of the pre-launch special, which is what I mentioned. The $497 gets you lifetime membership. If not, moving forward, I'm going to give you a special code that you can give to your audience, where they can go to Unfuck Your Mindset, punch in that code, and get a special discount that we're going to be offering exclusively to your individuals. But honestly, guys, I don't say this because it's my program. I don't say this because I'm looking to make money off of it. But if you really, 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 really want to take your business, and more importantly, your life, to the next level, focus and invest in yourself and in your mind. That's the best investment that you can make, is in yourself. And my mentor taught me a long time ago, the best part about success is not what you achieve, it's who you have to become to achieve that. Who you have to become to be a millionaire. Who you have to become to run 50 flips at one time. Who you have to become to manage 120 properties seamlessly. And that's where the Unfuck Your Mindset program comes in. So yeah, if you guys are interested, I would highly, highly, highly encourage you not to fucking think too much about it. Go to Unfuck Your Mindset. You can actually check out the webinar. We're going to be offering the replay for those of you that weren't able to catch it live, so you can see my top 10 tips. Whether you buy the program or not, I don't give a shit. Go watch the top 10 tips and get yourself some information, get yourself some value. But I really, truly encourage you, because fuck, dude, $500. Like you would have made that up in 5 months if you just paid the regular price. It's a steal at that point, honestly, with the amount of value and information that I'm giving, not just the program, because we're also offering something called Mindset Mondays, which is a live Zoom call that I do every single Monday, that I come in and I interact with my audience. We go over a certain topic, and we're there for about an hour and a half. I've included all those past 50 videos. I've included all my previous videos. I used to run a podcast called the AZ Flip Guys with my business partner, where we literally talked about every single aspect of real estate investing. So all of those 100 videos are there, where I've literally talked about anything from getting started, wholesaling, raising money, fixing and flipping, buying and holding, apartment complexes. Shit, my last 2 apartment complexes, I actually did we did 4 or 5 episodes on each one of the apartment complexes. So we literally broke down the whiteboard. We broke down the numbers. Here's how much money we're raising. Here's how much our investors are making. Here's how much we're making. Here's what the cash flow is looking like. Fuck, we even did video walkthroughs of the last 2 apartment complexes that we bought. Mm-hmm. So all of that you get included in the package. It's really a no-brainer I truly, truly believe that it's a no-brainer deal. So take advantage of that here for the next 2 weeks. And after those 2 weeks, when we do the official launch, I will give you a special code for your audience where they can get a deal. It's not going to be as good as the deal that I'm mentioning right now. I'm telling you that this is for people that take action right away. We're limited to 100 spots. So there's about, as I said, there's probably like 60, 70 spots left, somewhere around there. So that's going to run out here in the next 2 weeks. And then after that, I'll go ahead and provide some type of value there for your audience, because I truly believe that that's the best way that I can help out. And, me and you were having this conversation before we started recording, but the reason why I started the mindset stuff is because I truly believe that that's the best way that I can give back to the world. Yes, I can teach you how to flip a house. Yes, I can teach you how to buy an apartment complex. Yes, I can teach you how to raise money. But I feel that that's not as valuable as helping you become the best version of yourself, helping you become a better husband, helping you become a better father, helping you become a better son, a better brother, a better coach, a better student. That to me is invaluable. And as we mentioned earlier, if I can infect you and you can infect those around you, and then we can start infecting your family, man, that to me is so much more valuable than teaching you how to become a millionaire or something. And by the way, guys, if you unfuck your mindset, the probability of you becoming a millionaire shoots up the fucking roof, because it's all in your fucking head. It's all made up in your fucking head.
I love it, BP. So guys, if you are ready to change your life and change the life of those around you, you got to do something like this. I mean, at the bare minimum, just jump on the website, www.unfuckyourmindset.com, and check it out, and then take that leap, because this offer is going to expire soon. Well, and I'll put everything else in the show notes for everybody to find the codes and stuff like that. But let's wrap it up, BP. You are the man. I truly appreciate your time, and I value you so much. I think that you are one of the biggest influencers out there right now in people's lives, and you're really focusing on changing the world for the better. So I appreciate you, and I thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thank you, brother. I appreciate you reaching out. I appreciate you getting me on the show. I truly appreciate you having me on. I truly appreciate your kind words here, and I do really hope that your audience takes the message. Whether they buy the program or not, as I said, I don't give a shit. I just want them to take the message. I'm hoping that I just planted a seed that lets people know, hey, there's more to it than just working hard. That's my main hope. My main goal is just starting to shift people's mind a little bit. So thank you for the opportunity to do that.
All right, man. Thank you, BP. You're the man. Thank you so much.
All right, brother. Have a good day.
Take care.
I would like to say thank you for listening to another episode of my podcast, where we show you how to use your small axe to build a lasting empire. Now, if you liked what you heard, it would mean the world to me if you would subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, and write a review. Also, if you want to get in touch with me, go to my website at smalaxecommunities.com. And until the next episode, keep sharpening those axes.